Quick precursor to the episode today. I talk a lot about the non-technical when it comes to actually photographing multiple weddings in a weekend in this episode. After the episode, I'm going to be back here in the studio and I'm going to talk about a little bit more of the actual technical that goes into it. So once I wrap up, we actually come back for more podcasts. So double the podcast, double the fun.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. I had 2 weddings this weekend. On the Saturday wedding, I used the Canon R for quite a lot of it, and it is a really fantastic camera. The thing that absolutely blew me away was the low light face recognition when it comes to like dancing photos. The fact that every single photo, for the most part, I'm going to say there was like maybe 2 or 3 that were soft, but in like a pretty dark room, I was shooting at 10,000 ISO, and every single photo was 1, awesome at 10,000 ISO, and 2, in focus. In like something that my Nikon definitely would have struggled with because of the contrast-based focus system, but with the facial recognition system, it really just does dominate, and it's a lot of fun. And it's kind of a little bit weird. You're kind of in like, if you haven't used an electronic viewfinder for wedding photography coverage yet, for specifically like through the entire day, you kind of get this weird augmented reality vibe. But during dancing, whenever the feedback that you're getting through the electronic viewfinder is way better than what it actually looks like in real life, and it's way brighter. When you take your camera away, it's actually it's quite a mental, like, it's definitely interesting. So it's a fantastic camera. I'm very happy with it, and I will be using it for most of the time when I'm just doing photography only coverage. For photo video coverage, I might be using it as my second body, which will have a wide angle lens on it, but that doesn't really, I don't think it utilizes the full capabilities of the Canon R, but that's kind of my thing. So today I'm going to be talking about something that is completely normal for me, but I guess it might seem a little bit weird to other wedding photographers, and it's just shooting multiple weddings in a weekend. And I've structured my business, and I've very much over the past 10, 15 years been building up to this point to be able to be very selective over where I shoot and when I shoot. So I shoot at, I would say, maybe 10, 11, 12 venues, and that's it. So I don't, with the exception of destination weddings, around my local area here, I only photograph those venues, and all of them have a built-in like chapel or a place that they are able to run ceremonies on site, so that every ceremony there can be entirely independent of not having to go to a church or not having to go to an off-site ceremony location, that everything can happen in one spot. So logistically, it's the best. I think that this is the best for just guest experience wise. It's definitely like the easiest just to come into one specific spot, park your car, take a cab there, whatever you want to do, and just like be there for the wedding day. The other thing that I stress for a lot of my couples, that is one of the things that they either really connect with or really disconnect with when they come to my website and they read through kind of what my ideal plan for a wedding day is that if they are somebody that does not want to do a first look and they want to do all the photos in between, if they want like a 3-hour photo session, I'm not the photographer for them. I definitely suggest that my couples get that they do a first look, and we do a first look. It can either be on site or wherever they're getting ready, but it really does make the flow of the day a lot better. And it, like, the guest experience, thinking as like from, I guess, like stepping back and actually understanding what the experience for everyone that's arriving is going to be. There's no like 3-hour photo session where people have to like go to a coffee shop and sit in their suits in between the church and the reception venue because the church ceremony was at 11 a.m. And my internal struggle with that is the fact that I have to wake up very early, and it's a very long day of photography. And if you are doing sessions like that, or if you live in a country that maybe church weddings are still like the 80-90% common thing, my challenge with that and to do multiple weddings was that if you are shooting those longer days, those 12-hour days, that if you're doing a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they all require a little bit of driving to get to, and you're trying to do 12-hour days, that's a lot of work. You're going to burn out very quickly doing that, and you're going to be like dreading the fact that you booked a triple all summer leading up to it. Whereas if you're very selective over the venues that you shoot at, and this again takes time to build up, but I definitely do turn down weddings if they're in a venue that I know logistically it's not going to be the best for me, or if it's like a couple hours of driving and I know that I have a wedding the next day and I'm going to be done this wedding at 11 p.m. and I won't be home until like 1 in the morning, and then I start the next day at noon or whatever. I consciously think about that experience and my life happiness when it comes to that whenever I'm booking weddings. And again, that's something that's come with years, that I'm able to actually turn away work if it doesn't fit kind of my life happiness model. But the thing that got really good with that is the fact that if you are looking to become a preferred vendor or work at the same venues often, is that if you are turning away other work, you're leaving yourself open for opportunities to get booked at the venues that you want to get booked at. That you're not going to be receiving an inquiry for one of the venues that you want to shoot, and you're like, oh, I'm already booked, and I'm booked at somewhere really far away that I only took because it was a paycheck. If you're taking weddings on like both, I would say, couples and the actual location as well as venues, that if it's a couple that you really connect with, I will go out of my way to make sure that that I'm available for their wedding, or I will at least like mentally sit there and figure out if it is possible for me to do. And by photographing, I guess, a good couple that really does connect with you, I would say that my photography is significantly better as far as the coverage goes, and not necessarily like the visuals. Like, I feel like I can go in and I can do a consistent and great job at any wedding. But if I really truly connect with a couple, I feel like the wedding gallery, when they get it back, is a lot more personalized to them. I feel like I've known them for longer. And this kind of goes back to the whole building your portfolio with your friends strategy, that if you build your portfolio around your friends, you are going to be essentially booking your friends' weddings over and over again. And I would much rather shoot kind of like a mid-range wedding for my friends rather than like a high-end, like $1 million wedding for somebody else. So that's, I guess, my thought process for it, that I would rather be shooting a lot. I think it also comes down to the fact that like I would rather be shooting 3 times in a weekend if I could be, because the possibility to create amazing images really significantly increases. If you're spending that much time behind your camera, you are getting really, really good at photography really fast, and you're getting better week to week. And then also the element of random, and the element of sunsets, and the element of just like everything that could come together. Like, for instance, this weekend we had some really amazing, beautiful snow yesterday. It was like the cinematic snow. And on Saturday we also had like the most perfectly mild winter day that I've ever received. And had I not booked like 2 weddings, that I wouldn't have gotten that beautiful snowstorm on Sunday, or I wouldn't have been able to shoot Claudia's wedding on Saturday. And so I really do kind of aim to shoot a lot of weddings, but also aim to shoot them at places that I want to be shooting them. So maybe something to think about. The other benefit to specifically targeting venues is, one, that you can spend a lot of time on your targeted marketing, as far as like your SEO goes, on your blog, tagging venues, all different things that kind of go into that. Also forming relationships with those venues too, that now you're able to like interact with their social media person, and that they know you, and when you show up you actually know the staff, and it's a much better environment. So if you are anything like me, maybe a little bit introverted, like photography, and you want to create a life of happiness, my personal life of happiness and my recommendation, if it suits you, is to kind of think about the fact that like maybe shooting the same venues often is a very good idea for your mental future and your life happiness. The other half of us are probably the creative type that really dread the idea of photographing like more than 3 weddings at the same venue in their lifetime. And I totally understand that, but I've kind of grown my career working at the same venues. As far as volume goes, it's fantastic, because a lot of referrals come in from there whenever you focus all your time and energy on marketing only to those venues. The other thing that happens is that you get just really, really dialed at that specific venue, and maybe like you don't have the element of walking into a random barn and using all these different textures and spaces, but you do have the ability to go out of your way to create something that you've never created before. And every time that I am at a venue that I've shot at before, I do come home with a lot of images. Sure, some of them are the same, like don't change what works. Like if you found the best spot to do family formals, just keep using it, because if it's the best and it's the easiest and it just makes sense, nobody cares if their family formals look like a couple other people's family formals like in the history of time. But be consciously creating new and different work, and kind of take it as a little bit of, I guess, a mental challenge to actually be able to create new things within the same box. I think that is when at least I am a little bit more creative than I typically am, that if I know that these are the elements that I need to use, that this is the box that I need to create within, I can do an amazing job within that box and create something that I would not have done had it been my first time at that venue, or my second time, or my third time, or my fourth time. So something to think about. Thank you for listening to the podcast. That is all for today. The Book More Weddings course 2019 will be coming out on Thursday through Tuesday. It will be for sale. So if you're interested in picking it up, pick it up in between those two times. And if you are following me on Instagram, you'll see some announcements. Also, if you follow my Instagram story, it'll be a swipe up if you want to go to the link. Otherwise, it will be announced in the podcast. So come back on Thursday, listen to that, and get a good start to 2019. Basically, the way that it's going to go is that it's going to be for sale for a couple of days, and then it is going to be offline, or offline for new sales. You'll still be able to watch all the content for the next month until January 1st, which is apparently only like a month and a little bit away. So get a good start into 2019. I think that over the winter, photographers, we have this is the only time that we can kind of decompress and actually look back at our year and what we did correctly and what we did incorrectly. So if you're able to focus on what was successful in your business and double down on that this year, and then not spin your wheels on other elements, I think it's really, it's a good time to do that. And in the course specifically, there's kind of nine steps to becoming wildly successful in 2019. And I do believe that you need to be doing elements of all of them. Some of them you might have naturally, organically discovered, or you might have discovered them and you might be doing them, but you haven't really put that into words, or at least thought of that yet. So I think it'll be a helpful course for everyone. And as always, it comes with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you don't feel 100% happy with it, just let me know and I'll send your money back. So that will be out Thursday through Tuesday. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again tomorrow.
As promised, back to give you more technical details, since I really didn't touch on anything at all like that in this episode. So when I am photographing multiple weddings in a weekend, as I talked about, I do my best to stay within kind of a radius of about 45 minutes from my house, as well as I want to be doing 8 to 10 hours of coverage on those wedding days, so that I'm able to do a Friday and wake up Saturday and go and do it and not be completely exhausted, and then repeat again on Sunday for what I've actually kind of set myself up, and the way that I set myself up for success, to use an Outback Steakhouse / general restaurant term. What I do is I have a bunch of 128 gig cards. I pretty much shoot on them all of the time. And what I will do is I'll have my main card, which is a 128 XQD in my main slot, and a brand new one for each wedding. And what is in my second card slot is my SD, which is usually a 256 card. And I do my best to keep that 256 card with me the entire weekend. Even though I have my JPEGs backed up offsite, it's nice to have my backups physically with me when I'm at Saturday's wedding, and then when I'm at Sunday's wedding. So that I just have kind of everything offsite backup already, since I haven't yet usually built my smart catalogs and sent them to my editor, and that I just want to make sure that I have everything with me, I guess, which is important to me. I guess somebody mentioned it the other day that I'm very much meticulous when it comes to my backup strategies, and my mindset is very much that I don't need to learn from my own mistakes, that I can learn from the mistakes of somebody else losing wedding images because they didn't back up properly. I'm fine to learn that lesson from them and implement the proper strategies to make sure that it never happens to me and my business. For how I actually keep myself awake, it's usually not a problem at all if you're photographing within a reasonable distance of your house and you're doing 8 or 9 hour wedding days. All my packages through my entire price list, if you remember the Patreon, you have that entire pricing video, and it walks through exactly what my price list look like. And it is just kind of 8 hours, I would say, is my usual day. And that again goes back to the venues that do on-site ceremonies, so that everybody's getting married on site and then doing a cocktail hour and then going into the reception. So I guess my entire business is kind of set up to facilitate doing multiple day wedding weekends. So hopefully you gathered something from this, or you learned that it's not impossible, or you learned that it's something that you don't want to do ever, that you would way rather do full day coverage, photo documentary style, like meet them at the salon and stay until 1 a.m. Whatever makes you the happiest in wedding photography, just price your packages around that. Really do focus on what makes you happy as a photographer though, and don't just try to chase paychecks. Fine, obviously, like, do it in a smart way, but don't base everything on the money, or you're going to go pretty crazy in this high stress, high competition, and very oversaturated industry. So thanks for listening today. I will be back tomorrow with more things for you.